Hey there, I'm Ian Douglas. I'm the author of the website techinterview.guide, and I'm here to help people with career advancement and interview preparation. My live stream on Twitch covers topics such as company research, how to build resumes and cover letters, applying for the job, getting through interviews, and what to do during negotiations. I've coached thousands and thousands of people over the years to get jobs at the biggest tech companies in the industry, and I'm here to help you too. The following episode is taken from a longer live stream event and may contain interactions with other people in chat. Check out the end of the episode for more information. Let's get to it. So we had a great question show up in chat. It basically said, if I'm applying for two jobs and I get a job offer from both, how can I answer to one recruiter that I'm not taking their job? And the way they phrased the question is, I don't want to burn a bridge. I don't want to be super negative about it because I may want to apply there again in the future. Well, a couple of things there. First of all, if you turn down a job offer, you're not really burning a bridge. You're not going to so malign the company and be such a bad mark on the company that they're never, ever going to want to talk to you again. That's not going to happen. It would be an extremely rare event for something like that to happen. So remotely impossible to happen. It's not something that you really need to worry about. Most companies, if you get to the point where they're offering you a job offer, or they're offering you a job, they really want you to work there. And if you say no, then, it's disappointing to them, but they've probably been interviewing several other people and they're going to have other candidates that they can reach out to. At the same time, very much like the business decision that they make over who to hire and who not to hire, you're making a very similar decision just from a different position, from a different perspective. When they've got multiple candidates applying for the job, they're trying to pick the best person for the job. When you're applying for multiple jobs, you're picking the job that's the best choice for you. And so really it's the same kind of decision. And when we say oh, you got rejected by that company, well, don't take it personally. It's a business choice. It's hard not to take it personally because you were the one affected. You didn't get the job you were hoping for. The company feels that a little bit, but at the same time, they've also got other candidates applying for that job that they've been interviewing. Now, while it may have gotten their hopes up of oh, we interviewed that person and we want to extend an offer and we hope they're going to take it. If they know that you're interviewing at other companies, then they already know there's a risk that you're not going to take the job. So they have to try to make it as enticing as possible and try to, convince you hey, we really want you on the team. You really need to take our job. At the end of the day, it's your decision. You get to choose. So in my job hunt back in December and January, December of 2021 and January 2022, I interviewed at 30 companies and I had 6 job offers. I had one that was verbal for some contracting work and I had 5 written offers for full-time employment. And I basically had to go back to 4 of those full-time companies and say, no, thank you. Some of them were easier to have as conversations than others. One, I said, no, thank you because their offer came in very low. One, I said no thank you because the manager, the upper manager and I weren't getting along. We weren't on the same page. And I didn't want to start a job where me and my manager's boss were not going to be on a good starting point. That was part of it. Part of it too is they were trying to move me into a role that I wasn't as excited about. But I basically narrowed it down to 2 jobs. I was going to take the job at Postman, or I was going to take another job where they basically were creating the role for me, where they're hey, based on your background and based on your experience, we want to create this director level role and have you come in and fill this role. I'm you're making a role for me? What? And you're going to pay me ridiculous money? What? And at the end of it, I had to decide, do I want to do more hands-on work and do the job at Postman? Or do I want a director level role where I'm going to get into the people operations and hiring and managing a team? And I decided I wanted more hands-on work instead of the management. And so I had to make that call as well. Be I really enjoyed your interview process. I appreciate more than words can describe the fact that you were willing to make a role for me, interview me, and push this through and extend an offer that was incredibly generous, but I'm going to take this other job because I want to be more hands-on as opposed to the management side of it. So it's not going to burn a bridge per the question. You're not going to burn a bridge. It's a business decision from your perspective about whether you want to take that job or not. So for starters, high five and kudos for getting multiple job offers. I think that's fantastic. If you get to that point where you have multiple job offers, I think that's great, and we will absolutely celebrate and applaud with you. Come by the community anytime, and we will give you all kinds of emojis and hype and high fives and as much as we can in chat. because I love to celebrate those kinds of things happening. Even if there's only one job offer, I'm still going to high five you the same as if you got 10 job offers, because at the end of it, you got a job. So congrats. But when you have to call other employers and say, like, sorry, I'm not going to take the job, you don't owe them any explanation. You don't owe them a reason. You can just say, thank you. After considering everything, I've decided not to take the job offer. I appreciate everybody's time. Thank you for the effort. Thank you for the interviews. You could also ask them, hey, if you want, I can refer other people. If you're still interviewing for the role, I can refer like other colleagues, if you're open to that. Sometimes they'll be like, nah, it's fine. We already had a whole bunch of candidates lined up and you were the next one in line to get an offer. That happened at one of the companies that I got an offer from. I kind of dragged it out a little bit, like right to the very end. They're like, you need to let us know by Friday because we have somebody else waiting. Basically, they were their number 2 choice. I was their number 1 choice, and they made me the offer. And I kind of dragged it out for like a week and a half. And they're like, hey, like, we really need you to tell us because this other person is waiting to find out whether we're going to give them an offer. And if you're not taking it, we're going to give them the offer. And so out of consideration for that person, as well as the fact that that job offer came in really low, I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm not going to take it then. Go ahead and talk to that other person. So sometimes they're going to have multiple other candidates lined up, ready to go. I also answered a question a while back where someone was asking like, hey, I was interviewing with a company and they kind of put everything on pause, and then they called me up and they want to like pick up the interviews again. Like, what was with that big break? Like, they didn't address it. They're just like, hey, you still want to interview with us? Like, we're going to get you in for that next interview. Like, why was there such a big pause in there? And one of the things that I talked about in that question was they might have found somebody that they wanted to hire and they extended an offer and they were waiting for that person to say no. And then they didn't have any other candidates. And so they had to resume the interviewing with everybody else that was already queued up to be interviewed to go, okay, well, Ian's next in line. I guess we'll keep interviewing these other people that we've already been talking to. And then maybe one of those people will extend an offer to. So it's all business at the end of it. They're trying to pick the right person for the job, but you also are trying to pick the right job for your career, for the direction you want to take your career and the kinds of things you want to learn and the kinds of places that you want to grow. You are your own advocate. And so you get to choose yourself. I've often called the tech industry like a big giant choose your own adventure book. If you remember those books where at the end of a chapter, it's like, if you want your character to do this, turn to page 60. If you want your character to do that, turn to page 250, and you go to that page, and it kind of sounds like it's continuing the story from there, but it's like this whole other branch based on kind of if-else logic that we might see in programming. And the tech industry is very much like that. Like, when you finish that job, if you want a job doing this, go apply at that company. If you want a job doing that, go apply at that company. And you have that choice. You are in control of steering your career wherever you want it to go. You have the choice of where you're applying for those jobs, and in the case of multiple job offers, which job offer you want to take. Thanks for checking that out. I hope that you found it helpful. I always appreciate feedback, so please let me know what you think. I appreciate any subscriptions, so please tell your friends and colleagues about it as well. Check out the website techinterview.guide for more information about when I'm live streaming and all of my free content. Drop by a live stream anytime to ask questions or message me privately, whatever makes you most comfortable. See you next time.